I know I say this about every topic, but I really do love this one. Welcome to the community updates, all MSP strategy sessions. Like I stopped calling them community updates. These are
Yep.
meant for the wider audience of MSPs who need advice on how to talk to clients, manage strategy, and kind of bridge that gap. So this morning we talked with Tim Golden on compliance. We had a great attendance there. We had a lot of fun. Highly recommend you check our live streams out and watch that one. It is definitely worth your time. Very much a value add. But this afternoon we're talking about the death of QBRs. And that's a topic that we hit upon probably once a quarter or so, where MSPs do QBR so poorly that no business wants to attend them. Yeah. And so I like to revisit it, like what is going wrong and why. And I largely blame it on vendor sprawl. Everybody wants to say they do QBRs, but no one wants to talk about what actually is a QBR. And that's where we talk it through. And what most of you are doing are technical contract reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not doing a business review. You're not doing a analysis of the client. You're doing a technical review of their needs, which is akin to your accountant calling you up and going over receipts. It's necessary. Yeah. No one wants to be there.
No, it's a historical log review. Who wants to sit down and review log files? But that's essentially what so many MSPs do. And the QBR term, a lot of people hate that. So I've worked with a lot of our members, and everybody is trying to change that, or, the ones that are still using it don't like it. I totally agree. And then, we come along and we market, using that QBR terminology. So I feel a little slimy, but, we have to get in on that SEO there. But we just need to focus on what are we going to do, and recognize that if maybe not in your organization, at least for the clients that you have that haven't been with you the entire time, there may be a preconceived notion of what a QBR is. And that might be an important element. You need to understand, what are your clients expecting out of this? If you tell them that you're going to do a QBR and they just take you at face value, oh, we're going to review my business every quarter, that's great, right? Can you imagine how disappointed they are when you show up for that first one and you do a log review of their firewall? That's not what they were expecting. So, you've really got to focus on, what are we trying to accomplish with a QBR?
Yeah. And I think if you've watched enough of these MSP strategy sessions, what you find out is that people have these QBRs with good intents. We're not saying that you're trying to sabotage yourself. We're not saying that you're inept. We're saying is you've been given bad advice. So QBR is an SEO term. It's something that gets you higher in the ranking. So people are always searching for how to do QBRs. So if you're selling an inventory analysis tool, you're going to say, hey, our inventory analysis tool will allow you to do QBRs. Because that way, when somebody searches for QBR, they're going to see your inventory analysis tool. Yay, they make money. But they made money by misdirecting you. Now, they may truly believe that you should be talking about inventory analysis in QBRs. And asset management is a part of QBRs, but it has very little to do with inventory. So what you want to do is you want to change that narrative. And when you do, you'll see something magical happen, which we talked about earlier in some podcasts in January. Putting the B back in QBR is that clients will ask for QBRs. They'll start saying, when do we meet next? Because they're so valuable. But what happened over the past 5 years or so, or 7 years, is we had all these IT people who had never worked in a corporation. They'd never done a true QBR or attended one as an attendee, just watching somebody do a QBR. And so they tried to figure it out from what these vendors were saying. And the vendors are just trying to get you to resell their crap. And what we want to do is reset that to say, hey, look, here's how you have a QBR. If you are not learning about the client and what's coming up, you are not doing a QBR. We talked about that a few weeks ago. It's like, if you are not learning about your client in a QBR. If you're not forward looking, you're not doing a QBR. You're reviewing, are you on track? You're not reviewing what got done. You're reviewing, are you on track?
Yes.
And
And
Skip
I
loves to
think
make that point all the time.
it is. And we say that so much, and I always feel like I'm coming back and saying, I have to qualify that, because taking a look at the number of tickets that was opened is valid, right? If they're closing on average at, X amount of tickets, but all of a sudden 1 month tickets, go through the roof, well, we probably need to talk about that, right? But every month, do we need to really sit down and review every single ticket? Or is there,
Well, I have to prove my worth.
Prove that's it, that people are trying to prove their worth, and they're trying to use technical tools, technical elements to prove their worth. The client does not engage with you for technology. All right. The client is
They're out of the kindness of their hearts and professionalism.
Yeah. They're engaging with you because their business needs something, right? That's why they're engaging with you, not because you have the lowest price point on PC repair or something, or printer replacements. All right. At least they shouldn't be. All right. Maybe they're falling into traps as well. And they're getting misguided on that they just have to find the lowest cost. But ideally, that you want them to be engaging with you because you help their business. And you've got to keep that focus. I always go back to the olden days before outsourced IT was really a thing. You had an IT guy or a department or, a team internally that handled IT. And they understood, hey, my job depends on this. I've got to make this work well. I need to help the company out. What's my contribution to making this organization be successful? And when we outsourced that ownership of, I'm going to make this better, got lost somewhere along the way.
You get to, we hear it all the time. Like we talked about this morning at the compliance call, is that MSP is like, why won't my client listen to me? Why aren't they following my recommendations? I know what my client needs. And these are all statements we have heard from MSPs who are well-meaning, but are completely wrong. If I'm sitting up here saying, I know exactly what you need. You need to do this, this, and this. Like, I need to listen to you first and say, what are you struggling with? Where is your MSP? Some of you do really great QBRs. You just have good leadership, and that's fine.
Yep.
A lot of you do really bad ones, but it's checking the box. And it's weird. As Skip was talking, I was thinking through. So MSPs are advised on how to do QBRs based upon a vendor's needs. Like, I want you to sell antivirus. I want you to sell more of my stuff. So I'm going to make a little tool that helps you use my software more so you feel like you're doing your QBRs. So the MSP is walking in with a preconceived notion that this is what they need to talk about. Your client is sitting here going, okay, this is a QBR. I need to be part of these because they're being told by their business advisors that they need to do QBRs. So they're attending, and no one actually knows what they're supposed to be talking about. Everybody's pretending.
Right.
And they're like, man, that meeting is a waste of time. I don't even know. Why do I go to that? Why are these things such a big deal? Because if you go to a value-driven one, it changes your business every quarter. It adapts. It helps you respond to threats in your business, respond to opportunities in your business, and allows you to really get traction. That's why EOS works for a lot of small businesses, because none of them have ever been through an accountability and a forward-looking goal-setting session before. And it feels so good to do that because you feel like finally you have a grip on your business and you're moving forward. That's what a QBR is for.
Yeah.
How is a technology empowering this client to get a competitive edge in their workplace? How is this technology mitigating an active problem in your client's business?
Well, and so some of this gets really, I guess I can laugh about it, right? Being here, but if I were involved in either one of these businesses, I probably wouldn't be laughing. But I was looking at a QBR, I think it was last week, and the information that was there was just so ridiculous. I mean, there was so much information, and here's where it got mean, your clients glaze over, right? When they see a mountain of information, they just start glazing. They're not reading all the bits of information. But it got so bad that the MSP was glazing over as well, right?
Yep.
Because they were putting this information that went out to the customer. I saw the live, what was used, what went to the customer, and it was a screenshot of a report. And the detail was just, I mean, I know I'm getting old, but I got reading glasses and I'm like, I can't even read any of that. What was the purpose of putting this on the screen? No one can read any of it. It was completely, had no value whatsoever.
Drive goal setting or values. It didn't drive curiosity in the business. It was just data.
Just data. Yes.
Screenshots of data because somebody told them they needed to talk about this.
Yep.
And Skip and I are just like looking, I'm like, no way. They're not using, nope, this was just created.
It was, yeah. It wasn't even an old one. It was a current one.
God, it was just like, it was just data. And it was done so badly. Like, how are these people making money? And we see that all the time in MSPs. Like they put a ton of effort. Like, how long did it take them to build this report to go and screenshot all this information and put it into these reports that they're then forcing the client to go through? Like, I can almost hear the client groaning. And that's why we do our best to try to teach as part of the onboarding process, where we try to be always available. Like, hey, you got a big client you need to QBR for, or you need to review your contracts with, reach out to us so we can help you get the most out of those conversations.
Yep.
Otherwise, your QBRs are just dead.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to do in them. You are there. You're basically poking a dead horse with a stick, and everybody's going, that's interesting, but why are we here?
Yeah.
What is the result of this? And because I need to tell my client what we're doing, otherwise they'll think we're doing nothing. I'm like, no. You need to ask them, okay, hey, everything's going really well. What's coming up this next quarter that we can help with, or make sure that, hey, we got some change windows we need to put in place, or change freezes we need to put in place, or what is it?
Yeah.
You've got to ask questions and be there to learn about your client. And that way you're reviewing their business. It's not about reviewing what you've done for them. It's reviewing what they're doing.
Yes.
And that is where an effective QBR, if you're trying to sell asset management in a QBR, you are failing.
No.
The business is going to eventually catch on that this is a worthless meeting. Yes, they need to know which PCs to replace. That's fine. That can be in a report you send them separately. But if you're sitting there talking to them and they need to talk about, hey, coming up, we have these issues. How are we going to solve them? Is there anything you can do to help us reach our audience better during this craft fair, whatever it is? That's what they know. Hey, can you help us understand how AI can help our business? We keep hearing about it. Can you give us an edge there? Sure. Let's talk about that. That is the effectiveness.
Yeah. So it's the first of the year. This is the season when more people do QBRs than not. All right. Many of you will do a QBR now, or quarterly. You'll kick off Q1 and you'll do your next quarterly this time next year. Right. So, but for those of you doing one, think back to that meeting that you did. Maybe it's just last week, really recent. At the end of that meeting, did you ask for scheduling on the next meeting? Right? Because we know that getting these, I've talked to so many of our members that they tell me, hey, getting these QBRs is really on the calendar. Getting them is really, really hard. All right. There's a reason for that. Right? We've talked more about it, and we can dive deeper into that, but there's a reason why they're so hard to get on the calendar. But if you didn't ask for the scheduling at the end of your last QBR meeting, can you imagine what your client's response would have been? All right. Would they have immediately gone, I'll have to check. I don't know. I can't plan out, is it going to be tons of excuses? Do you see the wide-eyed, fear in their eyes? Like, oh my gosh, we've got to do this again. Or were they asking you, all right, when are we going to do this again? What time does the next one come up? Are we going to do this every month? Or are we only getting this once a quarter? All right. If you're not getting some sort of engagement, if you're forcing your clients, if you're dragging them into your QBRs, that should be a really, really big flashing light sign that says that you're not doing it right.
Yeah,
The
and
QBRs are dead.
if you've been doing QBRs with your clients and you're calling them QBRs and they have kind of died, like it's like pulling teeth to get them into the meeting, you might have to rename them.
Yeah.
And so you might have to call them business strategy sessions. You might have to call them SBR, strategic business review. You might have to change the name to let your client know that this isn't, that the QBR is dead. Like, we're going to do something else now. I want to learn about your company once a quarter so we can make sure we're aligned. That way, when you go to sell a project, when you go to sell them on an idea, you're like, this is going to help you with X, Y, or Z. And when you do that, you're going to find out that now they're listening to you because you listen to them first. When you listen to your client first, they will listen to you when you align with them, because now you're speaking their language. If a vendor came into you today and said, hey, I know I heard you last time, you said you were overspending on antivirus and it was really a pain to manage. Our software is half the cost of what you're currently paying, and our management portal is going to make things way easier because of X, Y, and Z. When you say those things, now I'm speaking the language of the MSP. I'm now helping you. I have solved a problem you're having. You need to do the same thing for your client. Yes, the computer is slow, but it's the one that's in the back office that's only used once a month for bookkeeping. What about Mary's PC over here, who's running the entire office? You know, it's still under depreciation or under warranty, but she could use a new one.
Yeah. She could be more
that one to the back office.
Right. Yeah.
Now you understand your client's needs. Now they're going to listen to you because you're speaking their language. You're not just pitching them like they're a blank slate. If you treat them like that, then they're going to treat you the same way. You're just another MSP. Why wouldn't
that's a great standard, a great example right there, Adam. You know, if Mary's PC is not due for replacement for another 6 months, all right, and you're replacing those on a depreciation cycle, and that's all that you're thinking about, that's just data driven. But if because Mary is a key stakeholder and she's really important to the organization, and you've identified a real need, and you're able to sit down and go, hey, I know Mary's PC is not, due yet, but the business would be better if she had a new one. All right. The client's going to be all into making that decision. How much better? Well, you wouldn't really know, but the client will. All right. If you give them the information they need, they will have a good idea of, hey, this is a good business decision. Yes, investing that in Mary, whatever, right? PC, monitor, it doesn't really matter. They're investing in an employee and what their employee can contribute to the business versus, hey, this machine reached X date and we need to do, the prescribed plan for it. That's not that much value for your organization.
Yeah. So why are QBRs dead? Because we've killed them. Effectively. And if you've never done them with your clients before, cool. They're still alive for you.
Yes,
There's still
yes.
a chance. Yeah. But I tell you what, stop listening to people who are trying to sell a software through your QBR. Like, our software does not sell better if you do QBRs. Our software helps you talk to your clients. We don't get any more money if you do more QBRs.
Yeah.
What we want you to do is we want you to have better conversations. We're trying to change the narrative. Now, there's other software, like the more you use it, the more money they get. So they want you to use it for QBR. They want you to Google search and say, our software will do QBRs for you. We'll make you look awesome in QBRs. But guess what? They probably don't even know what a QBR is either. They're just trying to get in on the SEO. And they want to convince you that their software is really great at this stuff. Yeah. Heck, if it was that, I'm trying to think of another term here, like remote viewing sessions. Hey, we just had a big leak, a big security leak the other day on remote sessions. I can now say, oh, my software allows you to do remote sessions, technically. And because I know SEO is going to be high, so people are going to change their marketing for it. They'll do anything to get it on SEO. So try to look at what a QBR is supposed to be. Heck, get rid of all the technology businesses. Don't even listen to our advice here today. Go in and look up QBRs for businesses. Look at what they're building. Download a template that they're doing at businesses. Yes. Look at the difference between what most people are selling you on what a QBR is and what businesses are actually doing from a MBA standpoint or a strategy standpoint. There is a big disconnect.
Here's another really good test. Can you sit down with your clients and have a QBR without any reports? Do you have to have a mountain of PDFs and donut graphs and charts and printouts and historical information? Is that what you have to do a QBR? Now, a lot of that supporting data, things like our platform, really helps. All right. But ideally, realistically, you should be able to sit down with your clients and have a QBR without any documents. It's not ideal, but it should be able to.
Chief notebook and a number 2 pencil, people.
Yep. I've told one of our members that just this morning. So, and that's the way we approach it. Our software helps you do that. So, it's easier, but the way that we approach things, you could sit down and do it without any tools whatsoever. Yep. And if you can't do that, if it's completely impossible for you to do a QBR without all of these supports, without all this artificial information, then it's not really a business review.
Yep. It is a technical assessment. It's like going through an audit.
You're just beating that dead horse.
Oh, nice. You're just standing around staring at it. No one really wants to be there, but you've all been told you need to do it, and you're getting no value. You're not getting value. Your customer's not getting value, and it's just a pain, which is why people don't do them. It's dead. Instead, review your QBRs and treat them as a learning session. Learn about your client. What are they doing? What's changing? What's working? What's not working? How can you help them going forward? Don't go in with the preconceived notion with a big set of reports that you printed off of some tool of the week that's going to help. Have something you can discuss, engage with, and have a great conversation with your client. Because eventually other people are going to come in, other MSPs are going to come in and realize that they can help your clients through service, and they're going to scoop them up. They're going to win. And you're going to be left behind because all you are is a technical repair shop. This new MSP coming in, it's going to be a business partner. And once you transition into that, there's no going back. It's fantastic. And it's a great feeling because now you feel valued.
Sure. That's a great place to be. Work with your clients rather than working for your clients.
Yeah.
I get a lot, wrapped up in the words sometimes, but it is a different engagement that is much, much better.
Be more than just a mechanic. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Lots of webinars today. Check out our compliance webinar from this morning. It's recorded. It's up live. You can see it. Make sure you like and subscribe to this page so that we can keep in touch and you can see more valuable information from us. Thank you, everyone.